Okay, so here we are. I've put I've kind of loosely fitted the gearbox in the cradle, uh, and that's easily done. Like the cradle is like diamond shape. It's got sort of like a hole there, if you like, and a hole there that makes it sort of like circle, and the mountings at either end, they stick out kind of like that. So you just turn it so the mountings go through those angles, and then turn it again. Well, obviously it's very easy with the engine on the bench, the cradle on the bench. But that's what you do. You just turn it so that these mountings line up with those cutaways, and then it comes out. So you have to turn the gearbox and pull it out, or in our case, turn it and push it in. Then. Oh yeah, so I've put the clutch cable cover on loosely. I'm going to get new screws, but I've put that on loosely because I've put the drain screw and the level screw in the gearbox, and I've filled it full of oil, and then I've turned the gearbox upside down and just swallowed it all about to make sure there's oil everywhere all over the gearbox so it can stay, it'll be okay. A couple of things. So then people are talking about the big end, the swinging arm bush. I haven't really done before. Yeah, there are upgrades in that available, but basically, I've ridden bikes. I've got bikes with upgrades, and to be honest, for everyday use, this setup is absolutely fine. If you're going to race it, or you're going to, you want to do, you want to drive like a nutter, then probably, you might go for an upgrade. But they don't really need it, in my opinion. So as long as this setup's okay and it's oiled, then it'll be fine. So that's why we didn't really upgrade it. Then what I've done is people have commented that these end plates are in quite far. As you can see, it is in a long way on that side. That's because there is, of course, the oil seal up against the end of the shaft inside, and unless these butt up against the oil seal, then that oil seal is just sitting in the middle of nowhere. These have got to push up against that O-ring inside, and it's that O-ring. It's not sealing around the edge. It's sealing against the oil seal inside. So that's why I have done it like that, to make sure that the oil will stay inside the shaft because it can't get past that O-ring seal at the end of the shaft. Then, now the owner has sent me, this upgraded gearbox mounting, and it's upgraded because it's got an adjuster both sides. Now the standard adjusters adjust on this side, so you can adjust the primary chain, but obviously there's no adjuster this side, and so the whole gearbox can quite twist. In fact, I'm quite amazed at the gap between the engine cradle and the gearbox. Now I have checked, and there are no spacers that go there. I will treble check before I do anything, but I'm surprised at how sort of loose a fit it is inside the cradle. Obviously, when we tighten everything up, it may well bring them together, but I'm not sure. Anyway, this is the uprated adjuster, and it's got an adjuster both sides. Now, in order to facilitate that, what I've had to do is I've had to drill an extra hole through the engine casing here, so that we can get the second adjuster in. Okay, that's fine. But of course, it's come to me. There's no instructions. It's just come to me, as a bolt. And I've looked, and it suddenly dawned on me that if you look at the thread on this one, goes up to there, and then the thread on this side, it stops way further out. Yeah, suddenly dawned on me looking at it. And I've realised that this bolt on this side is longer than the bolt on this side. There's a little bit of thread showing there, and there's a load of thread showing there. So what I'm thinking in retrospect that maybe it's designed that this hole on this side is supposed to be drilled further away so that this head is further down the bolt. But why, I don't know. I'm just worried that something goes there, like the primary chain case or something, that's going to get in the way. I don't think it's the chain. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adjuster back off, because it has to go in like from the primary chain case side, and I'm going to add some thread so that because what I don't want to do is to try and adjust the primary chain, and then this runs out of adjustment and we can't tighten the primary chain. I am just wondering why I'm now guessing that it's designed for this hole to be further away, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to take it back off, add some thread, and then put it back in, because the bolt has to go in from the primary chain case side. I think when the primary chain case is on, then obviously we can't get the bolt back out. You can't put it on from this side because the actual gearbox itself is in the way. Anyway, but I think it's definitely a good idea to fit this upgraded double adjustment feature to stop the gearbox twisting with the primary chain, especially noting how slack it is in the engine cradle. Anyway, there we go. So I'll take that back out. I'm going to put some thread on that and be sorted. And one other thing I've been meaning to mention is this circlip on the gearbox main shaft. If you remember, when I was rebuilding the gearbox, I knew that there was this circlip here, because you have to take it off to withdraw the main shaft through the high gear sleeve. But when I came to get a new one, because you basically distort this and bend it, getting it off, and you can't put it back on. You need a new one. So I went to buy a new one, and I couldn't find it in the parts manual anywhere. But I described it, and they said, "Oh yeah," and they sent me one, and so there it is. And it was just after that someone wrote in and said, "Yeah, well, it is in the parts book, but it's in the clutch section, not the gearbox section," which of course it is, because it's actually the very, very, very back of the clutch, because it's this circlip. Then there's a spacer sits on that, a shouldered spacer sits on that, and then the clutch goes onto that. So this is actually, that's why, although it's on the gearbox main shaft, it's actually the back, very back of the clutch. So that circlip is in the parts manual, but under the clutch section. So thanks for the people who gave me a heads up on that one. Anyway, so there it is, just to clear that one up. Okay. After that, I'm sort of kicking my heels a bit at the moment, because the parts have still not come back from the engineers for me to be able to rebuild the engine. So that's over 8 months now. That's nearly 9 months that it's been there. We were given a turnaround time of 3 months. It's now been over 8 months. I'm not sort of criticising casting aspersions. I'm just telling you facts. So we sent everything off to Sega Engineering. The owner really wanted it to go there, because he thought they got a very good reputation, and I'm sure they're very good. But I'll just say that we were quoted 3 months, and it's now been over 8 months. It's nearly 9 months, and still nothing has come back. So we've got the crankshaft there, we've got the cylinder barrels, we've got the cylinder head. We're having a lot of work done, and the fins replaced, and the crank reground, and valve guides put in, and so on. But until things start coming back, then there's nothing else for me to do. So I'll mess about a bit with that, and then I'll get on with some other jobs of my own until the engine parts finally arrive. And then when they do arrive, then we can start rebuilding the engine. Hurrah.